Hi, everybody. Welcome to our 7th episode of the Unwrapped Leader Podcast, where we get raw, real, and relevant to the new network marketing and how you can become a gifted leader. I'm Dracy Dewar from Australia.
And I'm Teisha Dorianna from Canada.
Well, we are so delighted to do this episode. This episode we have a very special guest, and he is larger than life. He is a giant in the network marketing industry, and he also happens to be the person who said yes to us to doing our forward for our book. I absolutely love this man. His name is Tom Chenault, and I have been blessed to have met him about 4 years ago when I first got started with Longevity, helping them out with Longevity Down Under. And when I first met him, he was like, who is this human being? I've not seen anybody that carried such a massive heart, massive spirit to be of service to people. He just shows up every day, and he has totally makes remembering people, making people feel special than anyone I have ever known. And so we thought, we really wanted to set the pace and make an impact that this industry is a profession. And if you decide to invest into yourself and invest into the skills and knowledge that you could turn this into a profession for yourself. He has been on the stages of GoPro. He also has the longest running radio show for home-based businesses and leadership. And he also shows up every day with a hair on fire call. And he also is known for his contact mapping. So we're really delighted to have him be a part of this. I guess for myself personally, I'm in love with him because I've seen his wife, and she's absolutely stunning and gorgeous. And he's got these amazing kids and grandkids. And I'm thinking, if these people can love him, there's going to be something really amazing about him. And that was my first impression of him. But as I've gotten to know him, he checks in on me. He makes me feel special. He genuinely cares, and he shares and shows his love, not only to me, to others. And so I couldn't have think of anybody better for our interview. So Teisha and I are going to get started on this interview. Do enjoy it. Take notes. Loads of great information. And we can't wait for you guys to enjoy.
Hi, Tom. Welcome to the podcast, the Unwrapped Leader Podcast. You are our second guest that we are interviewing on here, and we're so excited to have you. And one quick thing I want to share before we get into it is actually when I first started network marketing, one of the first people Dracy told me about was actually you. And she talked about your coffee shop interview and your contact mapping. And she talked about how I need to go read these things and how much it would help and improve me as a network marketer and a business builder when I got started just literally under 5 years ago. And so that was the first time I actually heard of you. And so when she told me that she was going to ask you to write the foreword of her book, I thought that's going to be amazing. I was so excited. So we just want to say thank you so much for writing such an amazing foreword. We couldn't have thought of anyone better to do it. And you did just such an amazing job. We couldn't have asked for anything better. And it's amazing. We're so excited for you to just kind of unwrap that a bit more later on. And yeah, so let's dive into the interview.
Wonderful, Teisha. Well, thank you so much. And I guess I just really want to introduce Tom to the audience. I've been in the industry over 30 years, as you guys know, and when you talk about people who have made an impact and people with great intentions, the first person I always think of is Tom from the moment that I first met him. He's not only known of being the great rememberer, he's also heart-centered in fire your head, hire your heart, love crazy, and love more crazy. I think I said that right. But what I've personally witnessed is a man of integrity and values and showing up every day. And so, Tom, I absolutely love what you do. You are a leader, and you definitely love like crazy. And I have felt that love, and everyone around you has felt that love. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining us. We want to hear a little bit more about you and your story, what you do on a daily basis, and the impact that you're actually making. So, Tom, please feel free to share with your beautiful heart your story.
Thank you very much, Dracy and Teisha, and I'm so honored to be here. Your book is an important book, and what you've written is something for like every network marketer, young and old, because you wrote it from both directions. You wrote it from the dinosaur age all the way back to, sorry, Dracy, all the way back to where we sit right now, which is you kids. And Teisha, as she just introduced me, said she's been in the business 5 years and she looks 12. So she must have gotten in here when she was about 7, if I do the math right. And it is so exciting to be on this show. And, you know, I've been doing this for a very, very long time, for over 30 years. And what I love about network marketing is the profession is professional and it stays the same, even though it looks a lot different. And it's all about human relationships. And I'm good at that. You mentioned that I am the great rememberer, and I pride myself on that. Yesterday, I posted that I had remembered 171 people yesterday. And several people goes, "Oh, I wouldn't want to do that. How could you possibly do that?" And all I can tell you is I wanted to do 200. And the reason I wanted to do more is because so many people came back to me saying, "Tom, thank you for remembering me," for something like a birthday, for them just being human. And that's what I'm good at. And that's how I built this business, because I am convinced that's what this business is about, is relationships and remembering people and selling hope, not a bunch of junk. And that's what I do, ladies.
So tell us, Tom, though, tell us a little bit when you first got started. Like, were you good at it when you got started? What did you really suck at? And what have you really fallen in love with?
Okay, when I first started, I had that Mark Yarnell book called Your First Year in Network Marketing, which said that you're supposed to verbally assault everybody within 3 feet of you, which I read the book and I did it. And I was in a company and I was a rocket ship. I came out of the stock brokerage business. So I invented a story like I retired from the stock brokerage business, which wasn't true. I drank myself out of the stock brokerage business and they kicked me out. Network marketing was the last house on the block. But I reinvented a story that wasn't true. Like I analyzed the industry, all the industries, chose network marketing, chose that company, and it was all hogwash. But because it was all about me. And basically I was this absolute guy you could not wait to get rid of. I think I was going broke and taking people with me. Going broke enthusiastically and taking people with me was the best way to describe my first year. And I was signing people up and they were quitting. They signed up to get me to leave their house and nothing was sticking. And I knew I had been newly sober from alcohol at that point. And if I continued on that track, I was going to get drunk again. I had to do something. And somebody walked up to me and said, "Tom, you have got great skills, but you are the most arrogant, most egotistical, lowest self-esteem guy I know. And you got to get rid of that or you're going to fail hugely in network marketing and you're going to take a lot of people with you. Don't do that." And fortunately, I was able to hear that and I flipped it. And I did a lot of work to flip it, a lot of personal development, a lot of things. But I just switched my emphasis from what's in it for Tom Chenault to what's in it for the person across the table. And I stopped treating people like prospects. I started treating them like human beings. And the rest is history. I took three different things that are real prevalent in my life. One of them was Alcoholics Anonymous. The second one was personal development. And the third one was network marketing. And I merged them all into one conversation called the coffee shop interview. And basically I just start, because I'm an introvert, nobody knows that. I don't think I've ever asked a girl out on a date in my entire life because of fear of rejection. I swear I had to. My wife finally got so sick of me buying her dinner and not really, just like showing up and never asking her out, that she finally initiated the whole thing, or I'd still be single today. I am petrified of rejection. So this coffee shop interview, we set it up so you learn what the people are going to say yes to, and you learn what the people are going to say no to, and you wait a couple of days and you call them on the phone and you ask them the question they're going to say yes to because they told you 2 days ago they were going to say yes to it, and you never bring up what they said they were going to say no to, so you never get rejected. And it's just so logical and simple, and they feel so honored that it's unbelievable. So that's kind of how I built my career, was treating people nicely, kindly, and not badly, and not losing them as relationships and friends just because I happened to pitch them on network marketing. They weren't up to it. And instead of hating them forever, I honored them for that decision. And usually years later, they all come back into the fold and want to figure out something to do with me anyway. So it's unbelievably wonderful is what it is.
I guess that's where the word attraction, being a magnet and attracting and repelling. And so, yes, you could repel people, but you're repelling the ones that you don't want. You're actually attracting the ones that you do want in your business. So tell us, in the contact mapping, your coffee shop interview, people can find that on your website, Tom Chenault. There's actually a downloadable brochure on how to do the coffee shop interview. But one of the things in there that really fascinated me was your Ford. Can you explain to everybody what the Ford means and how you use that? Like just that process. Tell us how you get to know people.
I look at people and look at what they love most about themselves. And it could be a handbag or it could be anything. And I comment on it. And they light up like a Roman candle because no one's ever noticed. And I usually try to find the person in that party that's least likely to get an authentic compliment. And I try to give them that compliment because all I'm trying to do is get related as a human being, not as some hotshot. And that starts every conversation, no matter where I am, because people love to talk about themselves. And if you can stand back and look at what they love the most about themselves, or figure out what they love to do and jump in that foxhole with them, I promise you, once you wind people up and get them talking, the problem becomes getting them to stop, not continue talking on, and directing the conversation to try to find out what's missing in their life. So my whole job is to find out how their health is, how their money is, how their time is, how their hope is, and what their plans are for later in life. And I listen so intently, it would blow your mind. And the minute I'm out of there, I hit that contact mapping app and I hit the microphone and I brain dump the entire conversation into the notes. So when I run back into them a month later, 6 months later, 5 years later, I can remind them of the conversation we had and they swallow their cigar. Because nobody's ever remembered anybody like that. And it works like a charm from a human being standpoint, and it really works like a charm for a guy trying to sell something ultimately.
And am I correct in standing that you got like over 16,000 contacts in your phone on your contact mapping?
That is so funny. I don't know how you know that, but I just crossed the 16,000 number. It was 15.
What do you mean you don't know how I know that? Because I took note of that.
I've never said 15,000. I've never said 16,000 because what I try to make sure I do is not exaggerate. The truth is enough, because this business is all about the opposite of that. Like if you have a Yugo, you actually always said it was a Maserati. So I go the other direction just because I want to protect the profession. And I think people are nauseated by those tall tales.
Well, Tom, here's my next question then. Because you've inspired us, you inspired this next step, is because I've been in the business for 30 years and I love what I do and I've been able to have an above average lifestyle because of it. But because you are so adamant on showcasing and sharing it's a profession, and you can invest into the skills and invest into yourself, you can have an amazing life. And so that was the steps that Teisha and I took, is we decided to let's make it our mission and our intent is to make an impact that this business is a profession. If you've inspired that on us, so I want to really thank you. And so you were the person we wanted to do the forward. And when you said yes, we were very honored. And reading what you wrote in the forward, how you're saying that you enjoyed the book, but you noticed there were things that were different that made an impact. Can you share with us what you appreciated about our book and what impact that you feel it's going to make?
Yeah, here's what I love. I am considered a pretty good network marketer. I've been doing it for 30 years. I've had unbelievable success at it. And I don't think anybody can teach me anything. And I think most guys in my shoes feel the same way. And what your book did was it took me back to the beginning. And it wasn't some person talking from the top of the mountain down. You did it the right way because you're mentoring Teisha, but ultimately Teisha was mentoring you. And what I loved about that was an old dog can learn new tricks, but if an old dog is willing to learn new tricks. And what you guys did was it showed us the importance of that. So everybody that's out there that's been doing this a while, and maybe success is $5,000 a month you've been making for a while or more, that's usually kind of the benchmark of, making it in network marketing, because over 20 years, that's $1 million. So you can say you're a millionaire. And that kind of turns into the real litmus test number. But you got to be every morning I wake up, I want to learn something. I want to learn something from Teisha. How does she do it? You guys in this podcast, how are you getting all these views? How are you getting all these likes? How I saw you literally do something on social media where you jumped into a canister, and I just could not believe my eyes. I go, how on earth did she do that? She's older than I am. No, she's not. But the point I make to you guys is that what the heck? And you know why she was able to jump in that canister? Was because she was teachable and coachable. Not from somebody older than her, not somebody with more experience, somebody with more vim and vigor like Teisha taught her that. And I love that. That makes sense?
Yeah,
And
well,
that's
thanks,
what
Tom.
your book says.
Well, again, she taught me how to do it, but the reason why I'm doing it is because I'm wanting to teach people how to do it. And so I got to learn how to do it to teach how to do it. And I have to lead by example. But again, because my mission is to teach people to be brave. And you actually reminded me, because you did your reel saying, I'm going to suck at this. And I did, and I challenge you to suck greatly. And that was me taking on your challenge. And that was my very first reel, was inspired by you, Tom. So there you go.
And you know what's nuts is now thousands of people do those. I do those dumb reels of nothing, and 5,000 people watch it. I go, do you not have a life? But something clicked. And I have no idea what it was, because it's like the Seinfeld show, and it's totally about nothing. But yeah, I'm excited about all this new stuff and how to turn it into business. And we need young people to teach us that, because, the status quo network marketing needs to stay the same, but it also needs to change. So that's cool.
Excellent. Teisha, I know you had some questions for Tom. Did you want to ask some questions there?
Yeah, there's one thing that you said that I wanted to just highlight, and it was talking about how Dracy and I complimented each other a lot in the book, and that I was learning from her. Well, initially when she introduced me, and then she was also learning from me. And it's funny you say that, because I remember when we first started writing the book, I was very storytelling and Dracy was very practical. And I was saying, it's like I was telling the story and Dracy was teaching all the steps, and I was kind of giving the story of what she was doing. And then at the end of the book, I was thinking, okay, I need to give more practical steps. And Dracy was thinking, I need to be more storytelling. So she kind of took on my style and I took on a bit of her style, and we just complemented each other back and forth for the remainder of the book. So, and I remember when we first started our Unwrapped Leader Instagram page, I remember Dracy saying, okay, what kind of content should we put out there? And I said, well, we have to put out reels. And she's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do those. And it's funny, because a lot of people on my team too, who are older than me, will say, I can't do it. I'm too old for reels. But you're not too old for them. You don't have to dance and be crazy and all that kind of stuff to do reels. The whole jumping in the canister. I've been seeing those everywhere on our Unwrapped Leader page. And I'm like, this must be something Dracy's teaching her team to do, because it was happening over and over again. It was so funny and I loved it. But it's just so cool that they're just all showing up and doing the work and that. So I just wanted to highlight that. But yeah, I do have a question for you, Tom. And my question is, what advice would you give to new network marketers who are building a business in today's network marketing?
I will tell you that your best you is the best thing. And so find you and your unique selling proposition, whatever it is, because this whole deal, this TikTok and jumping in the canisters and all that stuff, is giving self-expression permission to exist. When I was out there, it was all about conformity. And I was this drunken lunatic that wanted no part of conformity. And I think my career has been really made by the fact that I refused to step into that box. However, I would have been dangerous in today's day. I'm dangerous now. I'm still doing crazy stuff. But I will tell you one thing right now. To everybody getting started, get after it and just go and hit it as far as you can. go find that ball and go hit it again until it lands in the cup. And that's golf if none of you play. But the point I make is your best you is why God made you. And you trying to be Tom Chenault or Dracy or Teisha is going to be a bad idea. Let these people give you the skills to find your true self and then step on the gas pedal and go find people. And all you're doing in this business is going and finding people who want more and inspire them to do what you did, which was absolutely look inward instead of outward. Stop treating, it's not going to be a sign up and click and people make you a millionaire. Become this person. And I love what I read about your childhood and your high school and your college and who you were coming out, and you just blossoming as a human being, Teisha, because that was huge. Because when you decided to blossom as a human being, you blossomed as a leader, and you showed so many people from that little introverted kid. Now you're out there bigger than life because you decided to do it. And that's what I'm telling everybody to do. Decide to do it, and it's going to work out.
Oh, I love that. That's honestly such great advice.
So, Tom, the next question we have is, if you had to do it all over again, what would you do different?
I would stop focusing on all of the skills, and I would start focusing more on the heart of the matter, because I've been doing this a long time, and skills come and go because technology changes. And, a year ago, you couldn't jump in a canister. But at the end of the day, it's what's so beautiful about human beings and remembering human beings and the richness of serving. I would tell you to focus more on the people than it, because the it is temporary. The people are permanent.
Wow. That's amazing.
I don't even know how to follow up on that. It's just such great advice, is to just be yourself. I think a lot of people come in saying, if I do exactly what she does and follow her exact track, I'm going to be just like her. But it's so, it's so different. Everyone's journey, how that's going to look to get into leadership or whatever success means to them in the network marketing industry. So I think you nailed it. Just honestly come in, commit to it, look at others for inspiration, but just know that your journey is going to look much different than anyone else's.
So there's a server in a restaurant. I have to tell you a funny story today.
Please do.
There's a server in the restaurant that I go to, and she's in a network marketing company, and nothing's working from everything they're saying. And she goes, "What do I do?" I said, "What do you do? Eavesdrop on every table." She said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "They're telling their story. All you need to do is eavesdrop, document it, and figure out what you got that will plug the hole that they're telling that person across the table they have in their life. You are in hog heaven in this restaurant. You think it's terrible. It's the greatest place because you get to decide how to help people. And all this business is about is helping people. And that's a terrible example, but it's also not bad, because if you'll just stop going through the paces and be genuinely interested in human beings, you're going to win at this. It's the people that are playing games with it that fail. This is human beings being better human beings. That's all it is, kids.
Well, Tom, I admire you. I watch you, how you are stand up as a husband, how you stand up as a father and as a grandfather, and it is inspiring. And I just want you to say you're making a difference, and we really appreciate you. So before we finish, is there anything you'd like to share, like what you do in a day in the life of Tom? I know you got your 65 days in a wake up. You have your longest home-based business leadership radio show in history on the planet. You do your business calls. You have your contact mapping. So tell us, how do you make that happen?
Do you guys understand why that is?
You show up for everybody.
No, I'm so deathly afraid of being not relevant and forgotten that I will do anything to keep that from happening. So I get up every morning at really, really early in the morning, do some praying, do some stuff, walk a couple laps around my yard, get my head on straight. Then I go do this giant Zoom for 100 people. I don't, in the Zoom world, that may be big or small.
Is that your hair on fire?
Yeah. And so I do that. And that's like the Seinfeld show too. It's about nothing. All I'm doing is lighting people up and letting them realize they're not invisible and that they matter. So that starts, I get done with that. I go to my AA meeting. That's a lot of people. And then after that, I go out there in the world and I start remembering and loving people with one goal. And that is to be remembered, to be relevant, and let people understand whether, look at I'm everybody's grandfather. I'm 71 years old, but I don't want to be the guy in the lazy boy chair. I want to be that guy out there imparting wisdom and hope to everybody that I can. And this profession is truly the only way that I can get away with that.
Well, you're getting away with it. Tell me something fun that you've done with your grandkids lately.
Yesterday I bought one of those, the things that you pull behind the boat. I've got a lake in my backyard. And so I got that thing and I brought it over, and the kids, I thought they were going to want to do it. And we got home and all they wanted to do was catch frogs. So I spent the afternoon with frogs, holding frogs together, all that jazz that you just absolutely do not want to do. The frogs are peeing on me and all this stuff, and I'm playing like I'm loving it. And I guess I did in hindsight because I just told that story.
No.
I love you guys.
Well, we love you too, Tom. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Tell Denise I absolutely love and adore her. She is beautiful in her backyard with all her bees. And I look forward to coming and visiting you guys for sure. So thank you so much. Teisha?
Can't wait.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We really appreciate your time and all the amazing advice that you were able to give all of the business builders out there.
Thank you so much, you guys.
So that was the interview. How incredible. So much information to unpack there. And I just want to highlight 3 things that I really took away from this interview. Number 1 is just how Tom makes people feel special. He remembers the little things. And it just made me think back to a story where he sent me a text message probably 3 months ago now. And it was just a message. I had no idea it was him either because I didn't realize he had my phone number and Dracy had given it to him. And it was just saying, have a wonderful weekend. And I was wondering, I'm like, who is telling me, it's not often you get messages from people just saying, have a great weekend, right? Or hope your day is going well. So I replied, who is this? And he's like, it's Tom Chenault. And it made me feel so special. And just him remembering the little things and writing that down, I feel is so, so important for people to just remember you and just, asking yourself every day, how are people remembering me? And just little things like that make the hugest difference. The second thing would be showing up. He continues to show up every day. He does so many different things. He wears so many hats. But just, like you said, forget about the skills all the time. Just focus on the actions and the people, being of service to people, showing up as your genuine self, and just, committing to just being a part of your business and touching your business each and every day. And then the last one would be just being a good listener. Sometimes it's easy to talk about ourselves, but when you could start to listen to people, listen to the conversations, and just fill that hole, be the missing piece, see what people's needs are, when you could be a better listener, overall, you could just be a better rememberer and better in the network marketing business as well. So I know that I just feel so inspired after this interview to just be more intentional, to check in with my people, and really just maintain those relationships, because just something simple as have a good weekend or hope you're doing well could just, make someone's day and just helps them know that you're thinking of them and the little things as well. So that is all for today's episode. We want to thank you guys so much for watching and being a part of the Unwrapped Leader journey. If you guys aren't already, we would love if you guys could subscribe to our YouTube channel, like the video, leave a comment on your biggest takeaway from Tom Chenault, and we'll catch you on next week's episode. Bye, guys.
Woohoo! Bye, guys. Thank you.